All right, lesson 4-2, angles of triangles. All right, so we're going to do different types of problems here. The first thing we want to know is what's called the angle sum theorem. Okay, so I'm going to write that down over here. Angle sum theorem. I'm going to abbreviate theorem. And all that says is all the angles in a triangle add to equal 180 degrees. So probably something you already knew, but what we're going to do is we're going to use that to find angle measures. So right here we have a 90-degree angle. So we're looking for this one. So what do? We take 20 plus 90. That would be 110. Then we need to subtract that from 180, and that gives us 70. So that missing angle in this picture would be 70 degrees. Okay, what about problem number 2? Same concept. The difference is here we are applying it in terms of variables. So here we're going to use an equation. So we do 60, 60, and 10x. So we have 60 plus 10x. All has to equal 180. So we add like terms. That's 120. And I'm going to subtract 120 from both sides. So 10x equals 60. Then divide by 10. And we get x is 6. Now, another way you could have done it was you could have recognized, okay, if that's 60 and that's 60, then that has to be equal to 60, which means x would have to be 6. Why? Because if two angles are 60, the third one has to be, because it's an equiangular triangle. So we're going back to lesson 4-1. All right, what about this one? A little more complex, but still the same concept. So we're going to take 46 plus x plus 63 plus 81 plus x has to equal 180. Now, the difference is here, we want the measure of angle A. If we go back up to the top up here, we just had to find what x was. Now we're actually having to find the angle, so always make sure you read directions. So I look for my like terms. Those are like, so 2x's. If I add 46 and 63, that's 109. Add another 81 to that, and that's 190 equals 180. We subtract 190. Get 2x is negative 10. Divide by 2. So we get x is negative 5. Now, typically, we can't have negatives in geometry because everything in geometry is positive. However, when we take this negative 5 and we plug it back into the problem, we're going to find out our angle measures are actually positive. So if I do negative 5 plus a 63, that's going to make that a 58 degrees. If I do negative 5 plus 81, that's going to make that 76 degrees. Now, one thing you should do is always check to make sure all your angles add up to equal 180. So if I do 46 plus 58 plus 76, then I'm going to get, add those two together. For me, that would be 122, sorry. And then you add 52 or 58 and you get 180. So they all add up to equal 180. That always has to happen. Now, the question asks for the measure of angle A. So in this case, it's just the answer 76. All right, same thing here. We just have a little bit different outlook on the problem, okay? So what we have to do now is apply some other knowledge we've learned. So in this case, I'm going to take this red triangle I'm tracing. If those are 25, 25 plus 25, that would be 50. Then I subtract 50 from 180. Oops, drew that line too long. And that would be 130. So that means this angle right here is 130. Now, why did I need that one? Because this one right here is 130. Why? remember we said these are called vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. Now I can find the missing angle by doing 21 plus 130, that's 151. Then I have to subtract that from 180. And if I subtract that, that's going to give me 29. So 29 would be that missing angle. All right, what about number 5? Okay, let's review real quick. Angles that are side by side here, make a line, have to equal 180. So that means this angle right here, I'm going to do this math in my head, is 30 degrees. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that triangle out. I know this is 30. I know this is 80. This is what I'm looking for. So I do 30 plus 80. That's 110. Then I'm going to subtract that from 180. And that's 70. So 70 degrees is that missing angle there, or here if you drew a separate triangle. All right. Then we come to a new theorem. It's called the exterior angle theorem. Exterior angle theorem. And here's what it says. The exterior angle on a triangle, means it's outside, has to equal the two remote interior angles. Okay, two remote interior. So what's that mean? Remote means something that's far away by itself. So these are the two interior angles inside the triangle that are furthest away from that exterior angle. So our equation becomes 18x plus 6 has to equal 11x plus 2 plus 32. So we get a more complex equation here. So the first thing I'm going to do is on the right side combine my like terms. So I get 11x plus 34. I'm going to get rid of the 11x here by subtracting from both sides. So that gives me 7x plus 6 equals 34. Subtract 6. It's going to give me 7x equals 28. Divide by 7. And we get x is 4. And that's all it asks for. It asks us to find x. Now, in this last example, we actually have to find the angle measure. And it says find the measure of angle EAB. So this angle right here. All right, now, again, these are the two remote interior. This one, sorry about that, didn't make a good box. This one and this one. Those are the two angles furthest away. This angle right here is the nearest one, okay? So the theorem again says the exterior angle is equal to the two remote interior angles added together. So our equation becomes exterior angle equals one interior plus the other remote interior. Do like we did before, combine like terms. So that's 3x plus 83. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. It's going to give me 10x minus 7 equals 83. Add 7 to both sides. 10x equals 90. Divide by 10. And we get x is equal to 9. And that's good. But it's not what the question asks us to find. The question asks us to find measure of angle EAB. So what's that mean? That means I've got to take this and plug it into that right there. So it becomes 13 times 9 minus 7. 13 times 9 is, I think, 117. Minus 7 would be 110 degrees. So two theorems, the angle sum theorem, all the angles in a triangle equal 180, and the exterior angle theorem, which says the exterior angle equals the two remote interior angles added together.